Good evening, everyone. I'm calling the Winnebago County Board meeting to order. Tonight is Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. Tonight's invocation and pledge allegiance will be by Board Member Brad Lindmark. Please stand.
Almighty God, you are our creator and our sustainer. You are our light and our fortress. You are our wisdom and our strength. We ask for your protection for those serving in our military and our first responders. We ask for your guiding hand to lead us through this meeting. May we approach our task with wisdom, and may we approach each other with respect. May our conduct create an environment of cooperation and kindness. Thank you for helping us to accomplish our work this day. We ask these things in your powerful name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Lindmark. Mr. Rickard, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No adjustments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Clerk Gummow, can you please call the roll?
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will start with Mrs. Gorel.
Present.
Mr. Guevara.
Present.
Ms. Hansard. Here. Mr. Hoffman. Present. Mr. Lindmark.
Present.
Mr. McCarthy.
Present.
Mr. McDonald.
Present.
Mr. Neighbors. Mr. Penny.
Here.
Mr. Salgado.
Present.
Mr. Scroll.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Mr. Tassoni.
Present.
Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Mr. Webster. Mr. Arena.
Here.
Mr. Booker.
Present.
Mr. Butita.
Here.
Mrs. Crosby. Here. Ms. Fellers.
Present.
Thank you all, Mr. Chairman. That would be 19 board members present, 1 absent. And I will reflect on the records that Mr. Neighbors has now joined the meeting.
Thank you. We do have a quorum this evening.
But his coat was already here.
Move on to our awards presentations, public hearings, and public participation. We do not have any awards, presentation, public hearings, but we do have 2 speakers this evening under public participation. I'm going to read the comments and then call up the speakers. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may not address zoning matters which are pending before the ZBA, zoning committee, or the county board. Personal matters or pending or threatened litigation may not be addressed in open session. An individual may speak a maximum of 3 times per calendar year on the same topic. This prohibition shall include the repetition of the same topic in a statement on what is purported to be a different topic. Personal attacks or inappropriate language of any sort will not be tolerated. So our first speaker is Reverend Earl Dotson Sr. Can you please come forward?
The Bible. And Joseph died, and there arose a new king who knew not Joseph. And they set over them taskmasters who afflicted them mightily. And they built for Pharisees treasure cities. And they made the children of Israel serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. Black citizens relate to the Exodus experience as they built entire industries such as shipping, finance, the British textile industry, and the cotton industry, produced with free slave labor. The sinful side of humanity segregated these societies into social castes, pitting the haves against the have-nots. Thus, black citizens in America and the Israelites in Egypt were, and in some instances for black citizens, still are reduced to non-persons as racism institutionalized. It is very dangerous for people when their primary aspiration is assimilation, especially in a hostile environment. For the larger society will always assume the right to define possibilities according to their benefit. Start doing well for your primary benefit, where someone else considers the turf his, and the winds will change on you. The sky's the limit when you find and work on your own turf. The great God of greed and a train of lesser gods who sponsor the social, political, and economic mechanism that effectuates and maintains black citizens in an inferiority and second-class existence is the existential equivalent of slavery. How else explain 21 million black citizens today living at poverty level or below, a vestige of the barbaric practices of sending a slave father to a Virginia plantation, to mother the one in Alabama, the children to ones in Georgia or elsewhere. A humanitarian crisis at the border talk is old hack to blacks, and they had no remedy. This renders the nation unable to fully utilize the enormous God-given genius of blacks. Therefore, our organization will continue our unrelenting pressure on every level of society to adopt our plan for economic development, effectively addressing this immoral sickness of racism in America. And we are starting to see results, and so will you, Rockford.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Nancy Edwardson.
Yeah, good evening. I was originally going to speak about the prospect of a new cafe where the jail visitation area is, the room in the courthouse, or in the jail. And that I find out now, after speaking with Mr. Salgado, I find that that's not going to be available because we've had a couple of conversations, because it's being used now, those monitors. When I was over there last week on the 14th for my little court hearing for myself, I happened to look in there and talked with one of the COs, and she was very, very nice, Brenda. And so, you know, I was looking at the room and I thought, well, all the monitors were deleted. I thought they were deleted, but I was wrong about that. I thought that would make a nice cafe. Okay, so that's off the table, but darn it, I had my hopes up. So moving on, there's a kiosk as you come into the new courthouse, as I call it, the jail. And to the right, as you go through security, it's on the right-hand side, the little kiosk where you put money in for the inmates. Well, I was going to donate some money, no big deal, and I couldn't do that because the kiosk asks, for one thing, it takes $2.95 off the top of whatever. I was putting in a $20 bill, and it took $2.95 off the top. So I think whoever is in charge, maybe Brad Lindmark, and I'd like to be able to attend one of the public safety meetings. That should be replaced. In my opinion, that should be replaced. We should get a new cash station for the, because also it asks for your driver's license number, and I didn't have mine memorized, and I didn't bring it in with me to the courthouse, so therefore I could not put my driver's license number into the kiosk, into the cash machine. So blah blah blah, you know. So I think we need either another one that's more acceptable, okay, taxpayer dollars, that's what I'm all about, and let's get on the horn with this, okay, because that's not acceptable. I mean, an anonymous donor that wants to give money, like myself, you know, and you can't even do that. I couldn't even do that. So now I'm going to have to mail some money, and hopefully, you know, just send it to Redmond. I'll just send it to the attention of Bob Redmond. I don't mind doing that. And then the inmate number, and then that's real simple, you know. But it made it difficult for me that day, which was on the 14th. Did I say enough?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Edwardson. Okay, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. I entertain a motion to approve the January 26, 2023 minutes and lay over the February 9th, 2023 minutes. Motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Guevara. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to that motion? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Number 7 is the consent agenda, which includes the raffle report and the auditor's report. May I entertain a motion to approve? By Mr. Huffman, second by Mr. Thompson. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to that motion to approve? Very good. Please cast a yes for members, all members present. Number 8 are the appointments. Per county board rules, board chairman appointments require a 30-day layover unless there is a suspension of the rule. Tonight we have the Emergency Telephone System Board, the ETSB Board. Annual compensation is none. I'm placing up the Winburn Sioux Fire Protection District Chief David Loria. That's a new appointment, and that will be from February 2023 to February 2026. Second is the Extension Board. Mr. Board Member Aaron Booker, it's a reappointment. Mr. Jim Webster, it's a reappointment. And a new appointment, Christopher Scroll, our board member. And those are from February 2023 to February 2025. Mr. Arena.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to suspend the rules for item A to this passage tonight.
Moved by Mr. Arena, second by Mr. Webster. Are there any opposition to the suspension of rules this evening? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Arena.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm aware that we have a time deadline to get this completed. There was negotiations that took place on who this appointment would be, and it's my understanding that there's agreement with the fire protection districts, and the individual is qualified. Therefore, I move that we approve the appointment of David Loria.
Okay, motion by Mr. Arena, second by Mr. Webster. Is there any discussion on the appointment? Very good. Is there any board members opposed to this motion to approve this appointment? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Thank you. Move on to number 9, reports of standing committees. First committee is Finance Committee. Mr. Butita.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a number of things, but we're going to group them together here. So we have a group of 12 ordinances, all abating different tax levies, and this is a housekeeping measure. So I'd like to group these all together
Please.
and suspend the rules for us to approve these tonight.
Very good. So there's a motion to suspend the rules, and that would be number 2 through number 12? 13.
2
2 through 13
yes.
for a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second? Mr. Sweeney seconds that motion. Are there any board members opposed to that motion to suspend? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. The rules are suspended. Mr. Butita.
Then I move that we approve the ordinances 2 through 13, abating property tax levies.
Motion to approve 2 through 13. Is there a second? Mr. Thompson seconds that motion. Is there any discussion on 2 through 13? No? Are there any board members opposed to that motion to approve 2 through 13? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Butita.
Okay, next we have a resolution modifying the budget of an American Recovery Act project for the Animal Services Building, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Butita. Is there a second? By Ms. Crosby seconds that motion. Discussion? Mr. Butita? Any on your
No.
part? No? Any board member discussion? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to this motion to approve number 14? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Butita.
Next we have an ordinance to amend the budget for inmate medical contract, and that's to be laid over.
Number 15 is being laid over.
Okay.
Very
And
good.
We also have two old business issues. Should we address those now?
Yes.
Okay. So for approval this evening, then, we have an ordinance for the approval of a budget amendment for the circuit clerk, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Putita, second by Ms. Crosby. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to that motion to approve this ordinance? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Butita.
Okay, then lastly, we have an ordinance for the approval of a budget adjustment for the sheriff's office, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Butita, second by Mr. Penny. Is there any discussion?
This is the approval of the Finance Committee for the casino security by the Sheriff Department.
Very good. Is there any further discussion on this ordinance? Hearing none, please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Butita.
That is all we have this evening. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Butita. Yes. Number 6. Oh, we have to address number 16, Mr. Butita.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's been laid over.
Number 16 is also being laid over. Thank you. All right, and our next committee is the zoning committee. Mr. Webster. Oh, there he is.
Thank you. Your zoning committee has 3 items on our agenda here this evening. The first 2 are map amendments and for the first reading for layover. Number 1 is Z0123, and number 2 is Z0223, both in for the first reading layover.
Very good. Item number 1 and 2 are being laid over. Thank you. Mr. Webster.
Thank you. The third item on the agenda is a resolution calling for the Governor General Assembly to protect local control of zoning and land use with regard to commercial solar farms and wind power energy. And this was House Bill 4412. And I make a motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Webster for this resolution, second by Mr. Guevara. Discussion, Mr. Webster?
No, I think everyone's got the resolutions in front of them.
Is there any board member discussion on this resolution? All right, hearing none. Are there any? Oh, Angie, I'm sorry.
If you have any doubts on this, don't, because this has to be done. When we did the 2030 plan, it took us almost a year to put that together. And we spent a lot of time on windmills and on solar farms. And we truly have a very good, a lot of forms that they have to fill out. They have to, when they want to have, someone comes to us and wants a solar farm, we have forms that have to be filled out, and other places don't. We really, really took a lot of time in doing the zoning on wind farms and on solar farms. So please vote yes on this.
Thank you. Anything further?
That was very well said. We have a very comprehensive code, and that's what makes things speed up. If someone came to our office inquiring, and our process is so much faster. And I hope that the legislature takes a good, hard look at this, and might have something to do with changing their mind. So we're going to plead with them to do just that, take a good, hard look.
Ms. Fellers.
I just have a quick question. Are we voting on it as it's amended on what's on our desk? So the strike-throughs are struck from the amendment?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, I
The
believe that
resolution,
passed through
excuse me.
committee earlier today.
Okay, great. That was my only question.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this resolution? Are there any board members opposed to the motion to approve this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Webster.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your support on this. It's kind of funny that, or not funny, but a little ironic that 2 years ago, we had a very similar resolution, that a bill that came out of the Senate, and it was for the same thing about controlling are taking away local control of zoning. And we had that resolution, and we were opposed to that one as well. The whole body of us were. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. Next committee is Economic Development Committee. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Economic Development Committee has one resolution tonight. That's the resolution electing to opt in to the Illinois Electric Recycling Program for the program year of 2024, and I so move its adoption.
Moved by Mr. Sweeney, second by Mr. Penny. Is there any discussion on this resolution? All right, hearing none. Are there any board members opposed to approval of this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Economic Development Committee will have a committee meeting this upcoming Monday, the 27th at 5:30 on the third floor.
Very good, thank you. Next is Operations and Administrative Committee. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no report.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Next is Public Works Committee. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Chairman. We have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Tassoni. Next up is Public Safety and Judiciary Committee. Mr. Lindmark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 3 resolutions tonight. First resolution is authorizing the county board chairman to amend the contract for healthcare services for detainees of the Juvenile Detention Center, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Lindmark, second by Speaker McCarthy. Is there any discussion? Any board member discussion? Hearing none, please cast yes for all members present. Thank you.
Next resolution is a resolution authorizing the county board chairman to amend the contract for healthcare services for the inmates of the Winnebago County Jail, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Lindmark, second by Ms. Corll. Is there any discussion on this resolution? All right, hearing none, please cast, are there any board members opposed? Very good, please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Lindmark.
The last one is an ordinance amending Chapter 14 of the Winnebago County Code of Ordinances regarding registration and inoculation requirements for dogs and cats to be laid over.
That's to be laid over? Very good. Anything further, Mr. Lindmark?
Nothing further. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Lindmark. All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. We've already completed Finance Committee. Move on to unfinished business for appointments. Tonight, we're placing up for the River Bluff Board of Directors. There's annual compensation is none. There are 9 appointees, and I'll name them off. This is Mr. Jim Knutson. It's a new appointment. March 2023 to March 2027. Second is Teresa Gabelli. It's a new appointment, same term. Third is Trent Bass. It's a new appointment, same amount of term. Number 4 is Mr. Bob Neiman, a new appointment, same term. 5th is Jay Ferrero. That's a new appointment, the same amount of term, 2023 to 2027. 6th is Mr. Steve Schultz. That's a new appointment, same term. Number 7 is Mr. Frank Perricone. That is also a new appointment, same term. Number 8 is Bernice Marinelli. That's a new appointment, same term. And number 9 is Mr. John Butita. That's a new appointment with the same term. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Sweeney motions to approve, second by Mr. Booker. Is there any discussion? Mr. Butita.
Thank you, Chairman. So I guess if you decide to take these as a group, I'll abstain from voting. But secondly, as being a member of this board, I've taken it upon myself to introduce myself and meet with all the board members, and I'm glad to report I think we're going to have a really good board of directors for River Bluff. We've got a diversity in the board from people from different occupations and services, so I think we're going to get a really a bunch of members that are contributing to the success of River Bluff, and I'm looking forward to serving on that.
Thank you, Mr. Butita. We're looking forward to you to serve also. We're very excited about convening this new board. Mr. Arena.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank Mr. Butita for all the work he's put into River Bluff in general, and establishing this new policy and a new method for us governing River Bluff. I think he's made great progress. We're off to a good start, and I just can't thank him enough for taking the lead on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rena. Any further board discussion on these appointments? All right, hearing none. Are there any board members opposed to the motion to approve these appointments 1 through 9 for River Bluff Board of Directors? Very good. Please cast yes for all members present. Thank you. All right, new business. Is there any new business? Mr. Salgado.
Actually, old business, if I may.
Okay.
I was wondering if Mr. McDonald's Operations Committee can take up the the Health Department bond payment up again with MOU with them to see if we can get that going. I'd like to see that come back and get that going again. I know that we pushed it aside, we tabled it. So if the committee wouldn't mind taking it up again, so we can move that forward with the bond payment. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Salgado. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sagato, we did have a good conversation about this in caucus. We do intend moving forward with it, and I will keep you informed on our progress.
All right, thank you. Any other old business? No? New business? Any board members with any new business this evening? Okay, announcements and communications. Clerk Gummow?
Thank you, Chairman. The items listed below were received as correspondence.
Very good, thank you. Speaker McCarthy?
Two items, two reports, being the liaison with the county, with Ray. Tomorrow night's an 80s cover band, Hairball. Fantastic show, tickets still on sale. Plus, the Still local band will be here opening up for them. So I just want to bring that to our attention this evening. And also, birthday wishes for Mr. IT himself, Chris.
Oh, Chris. Well, I heard you're 58 today?
A few years younger than that, but yeah.
What's the Speaker McCarthy told?
The magic number.
50, oh, you had 8 years working for the county. That's why, okay. Got it. All right, so it's really 50. And county years is 58. Okay. Mr. Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would also like to congratulate our very own Mr. Penny, who over the last couple weeks became a grandparent for the first time, and has
Congratulations.
the distinguishment of being the youngest looking grandpa I know personally.
Wow. Very good. Any other board member communications? I'm sorry. Oh, second congratulations, Mr. Penny. Now you need another grandchild. All right, so on a serious note, I want to let everyone know that a dear friend of ours that used to serve on this board, Tuffy Quinones, suffered a serious medical incident a few days ago, I believe last Sunday. He is currently in the hospital. He's unconscious, but it sounds like he is starting to make some movements, so that's a good sign. His color is coming back. So please keep him in your prayers. He is a current City of Rockford alderman and a former Winnebago County Board chairman member. So please keep him in your prayers for him for a speedy recovery, so I appreciate that. Anything further? Mr. Webster. Mr. Webster moves to adjourn, second by Mr. Thompson. All in favor, say aye.